this chat about Fallout 76. I have, well, I guess we're halfway through the PC and PS4 beta right now. I've played about 6 hours of the game, spread across 2 betas. Got to about level 9, I think, out of a possible 50. And explored a bit and done a few quests, and I think generally got a pretty good scope on what the game's about, what it's trying to do, what are its good points and what are its bad points, shall we say. So I thought I would just record my thoughts on it. In the background you'll see some gameplay footage as well, but I'm not actually playing this at the same time, so I can actually try and have some coherent thoughts, because I've tried to explain while playing, but I can't seem to find the words while I'm playing for whatever reason. Maybe because there's kind of most of the time something happening in the game that might have your attention, or just because it's kind of hard to actually describe the game. Now, I guess I should start this. Sorry. I guess I should start this off by saying that I am neither going to slag off Fallout 76, nor am I going to sit here like some sort of fanboy and praise everything about it. It dismays me sometimes when I see people who they just do that for views. You know, they'll put a really clickbaity title on their video like "Why Fallout 76 is so bad" or something like that, and without trying to give an actual constructed, I don't want to say review, but some constructive thoughts on what they like and what they don't like about the game, and instead just try and get people to click on a video to either try and rile people up or whatever. I'm not here to do that. I'm just here to give my thoughts on the game. As a bit of background, I guess I have played mostly all the Fallouts that Bethesda have made from Fallout 3 onwards, and loved them. Fallout 4 I loved. I've got over 300 hours in Fallout 4 and thoroughly enjoyed it from the day it came out, and it's one of my favourite games. So you can take that with a pinch of salt, because the thing about Fallout 76 is it's very similar to Fallout 4. A lot of the problems that people might have had with Fallout 4, they're going to have with Fallout 76. But also vice versa. If you liked Fallout 4, the chances are you'll like Fallout 76. So yeah, let me explain. Well, actually, let's talk about performance. So I've been playing this on PC. I have a good PC, so it is difficult for me to talk about performance, because I can appreciate that some people might be using a slightly lower end PC to what I am, and they might have a different experience, but for the most part I found the game to run well. I have a 1080 Ti and an i7 6700K with 16GB of RAM, and I've been playing at 2K Ultra and getting 60 frames per second pretty much all along the way. I had one moment where it did dip a little bit, but there didn't seem to be a reason for that. It could have just been a random area or something like that, but it's only like for about 10 seconds across the whole sort of 6 hours or so that I've played, so I haven't got a problem. Performance wise, you know, for you guys, obviously it could be different on consoles, it could be different on your PC. It's difficult to say, you know, I can't say, but I haven't had a bad experience with the game in terms of performance wise. In terms of how the beta's performed, I think it's done pretty well. Over those 6 hours I only got, like, I guess it only crashed once, which is actually pretty good, especially with a Bethesda game. Yeah, I did have one moment where I was trying to log in and it did take quite a while, but again, that could have been because it was like peak time at the beta, and you know, they are trying to stress test it. They have said that it, you know, that they're trying to, you know, gauge the levels, you know, during the beta and stuff like that. I think that one of the issues they've had is that they haven't made it an open beta, so you can only join the beta if you have actually pre-purchased the game, or you could technically buy a beta key online. They're only like a couple of quid, and I would recommend you maybe do that before the beta runs out. If you are unsure on the game, like, I don't particularly agree about buying beta keys and stuff like that, but at the end of the day, if you're going to buy one for a couple of quid and you play the game and hate it, then you've saved yourself £50 down the line, and vice versa. If you like it, you've only spent a couple of quid to kind of word that out. So performance-wise, I don't have a problem with it. I think it's done pretty well. Graphically, it's very, very, very similar to Fallout 4. Slightly updated, like lighting engine, so slightly better lights. But as somebody who generally has played Fallout 4 with mods and the high-res texture pack, it doesn't look quite as good as that. So, and with like EMBs and things like that, it doesn't look as good as how I play Fallout 4. But if you're looking at a bog standard Fallout 4, yes, there is a slight improvement, but it doesn't look amazing, I would say. So recent games which have come out, Assassin's Creed Odyssey, Red Dead Redemption 2, they've looked amazing. They have set a standard higher for graphical fidelity, in my opinion. Even something like Spider-Man looked great, and the people's faces and things like that look great. One of the biggest things that disappointed me going into Fallout 76 was straight away with the character creation. You have exactly the same character faces that you do in Fallout 4. There is no difference. All the kind of presets are basically exactly the same. And I know for a lot of people, like, it probably won't bother them too much. They'll either be wearing a helmet or power armor or whatever, so they don't get to see that face. But I feel like they definitely should have added in some more facial features, distinction, than there was in Fallout 4. Feels a little bit lazy in that respect on there. So yeah, graphically again, I think it's okay. It does the job. It has a fairly nice view distance. There is a little bit of pop in every now and then, but there are some nice sort of vistas, and there's a nice sort of elevation, I think, to the game as well. It's a very hilly game, so you can get up quite high and kind of look around and see points of interest, and that's quite nice to do as well. So yeah, I wouldn't say it blows you away graphically, but it does a decent job. And when you're talking about something that's an MMO, to be fair to it, if we're comparing it to the likes of Odyssey and Red Dead, or even Fallout 4, it's a little unfair because it's not a single player game. If you compare it to some MMOs out there, it's one of the nicer looking, I'd say. Obviously it's kind of subjective. You could call something like Destiny to an MMO. It kind of is, kind of isn't. It's all subjective what you want. But for a game that's kind of like an online with lots of different people playing in a game world, it looks quite good. Yeah, I'd say so. I'd say quite good though. Not. It looks incredible. Quite good. As I said, some of the textures are a bit rough sometimes. The depth of field is quite strong on some things, but like the gun models look nice, and I feel sometimes as well the clothing is a bit low res as well. But generally the animals, creatures, things like that, they look quite nice in there. So I guess that's cool. It's kind of as you would expect for a Fallout 4 game, I guess. Or a Fallout 4 engine game. They've used a lot of the same, what would be the term? The same textures, the same models that they did in Fallout 4. A lot of the same, especially when it comes to the building and stuff like that. I've seen a lot of buildings and things like that where I'm like, I recognise that out of Fallout 4. Now, that's not necessarily a bad thing. It's set in the same world. There's no reason why you would have completely different buildings, but you kind of feel like it hasn't moved the bar from Fallout 4. It's very much kind of like Fallout 4 Online. it shouldn't be called Fallout 76. You know, I kind of feel like if they maybe had called it that, they probably wouldn't be getting as much of a backlash. Of course, there's all sorts of reasons why I guess they couldn't call it that. It's not in the same area, etc., etc., not at the same time. But you know what I'm saying. If you think of it as Fallout 4 online, then you're probably just about getting to what there is now. Obviously, I said earlier, if you like things about Fallout 4, you'll probably like this game. If you dislike things about Fallout 4, you probably won't. So some of the things which I like from Fallout 4, the gunplay's quite good. It's not maybe Destiny level, but you know, it's a different game, but it's certainly way better than a lot of other MMOs out there. In terms of like action MMOs, it's quite varied. You have the melee, which still feels quite nice and solid to do. You know, using a baseball bat or a fire axe or something like that is quite satisfying. The guns do feel different that you use, and there are plenty of them. There's quite a few ones which are different to Fallout 4 as well. They've expanded that, it seems, and you can still do a lot of modifying to them as well, which is really nice. You can do all the sort of mods you could in Fallout 4, and then a few more. So that's pretty nice. And yeah, there's lots of them there. So I think the gunplay generally is a positive. It feels quite nice. I've had quite a few battles, and it feels quite nice to headshot someone and wipe them out with one hit or whatever. And the game operates a level system, so that's in so much as everything has a level on it. It's displayed when you kind of highlight the creature or whatever, and kind of gives you an idea of how difficult that is. There's not to say that if you're, say, level 5, you can't beat something that's level 10. I was level 7 or 8, and I beat a rad scorpion that was like level 14. It nearly killed me, but I did do it. Because that's what I quite like about games like this, I guess, is that you can use a lot of tactics to beat them. If you're in a standard MMO, say Elder Scrolls Online, for example, if I go up against a much higher level like monster, I'm just going to get flattened. Like there's not really much I can do. My skill's just not going to be powerful enough to take it on. But like, I managed to beat the rad scorpion. I managed to beat a higher level super mutant skirmisher by using tactics, whether that was kind of like hiding around the corner and just popping out, or chucking a grenade, or doing something like that. And I was like, okay, that's quite nice that they're not just indefeatable, because they're a higher level. Like, I can take them on. So I like that about it. And in the same way as you could do in like a first person kind of game, same, like, it didn't feel as, say, bullet sponges, something like Destiny 2. And Destiny 2, if you go against something that's much higher level, you either flat out won't be able to beat it, or it will take you 5 hours to defeat it. It took me a little while to defeat some things, but I didn't feel like it was too bad. I felt like I was doing some damage to it, and I think they had that at a nice level. I liked the kind of like damage level that there was, even though somebody was a much higher level than I was. And you get the kind of appropriate leveled rewards. So all gear and all weapons are leveled, so you can only use certain weapons and gear and armour, shall we say, if you are at a certain level. This stops, I guess, people from going and finding the best gun in the game that happens to be lying somewhere and using it straight away, which for me works. I like that. I went somewhere, found a sniper rifle that was level 10, and I was level 8, and I was like, okay, that's kind of annoying, because I'd love to be able to use this sniper rifle now, but it gives me something to look forward to leveling up. Like, I can go and use it. A lot of MMOs have that same thing, but you don't often see it, I guess, in games which are like first-person-y kind of MMO type games. Usually you can just find a weapon and pick it up and use it. Certainly in the Fallout games, any weapon you find you can pick up and use. The difference there, I would say, is that because it's a single-player game, it doesn't drop higher-level weapons until you get to a higher level, does it? So it artificially level caps things, which I understand. And generally, you can't upgrade weapons in like Fallout 4 to their highest level until you unlock level perks, which are level up. So there is a kind of a type of level cap already in like Fallout 4. It just in this game it makes it a lot clearer. Like you cannot use this weapon at all until level 10 or whatever, up to level 50. You also can't use power armor until level 25, but you could use the power armor frame, which was okay because that allows you to not have full damage, allows you to carry more, and you've still got the same fusion core thing, and they look even rarer, to be fair, than they were in Fallout 4. I personally liked that system rather than the system they had in other Fallout games, where you had to learn how to use it, but then it was just like normal armour. I liked the kind of Iron Man frame that you have with the power armour. I think it makes it feel special, but it also perhaps doesn't. Like if you're just running around normally, you can stealth and do stuff like that, whereas you can't necessarily do that with any power armour equipped. So I like the fact that, say, in Fallout 4 there was that type of power armour, and it did have its pluses and negatives. It was obviously incredibly strong and allowed you to carry more, but you couldn't do like a stealthy kind of thing, and it would restrict movement a little bit with how you were going, and it needed the fusion cores, and that's carried over to 76, which personally I like. So I like that side of it. I like the fact that they have incorporated some of the survival mode stuff into Fallout 4. I've played quite a bit of the survival mode in Fallout 4, and I like it. It makes things difficult. It isn't a straight kind of like, they haven't taken the whole thing. So for example, if you used a stim pack in survival mode, it would have a lot of negative effects on you to use that. It doesn't seem to have any negative effects in Fallout 76, but something like Radaway does. So they've kind of toned it down a little bit. You still have to eat and drink, and I would say water is a lot harder to find, like non-irradiated water anyway. But I do like survival kind of aspects like that. I think it does make things more interesting. It does make you have to think about some other stuff, and it does affect you quite a lot if you don't look after yourself with food and water and stuff like that. You also have diseases, which you had in survival mode again. You can find cures for them, antibiotics, stuff like that, but again they're quite rare. One of the things Fallout 76 does is, if you want to rest, it does regenerate your HP. You just kind of lay there and it does it. It's a bit similar to like Minecraft in that respect, but if you don't use your own bed, you run the risk of catching a disease. If you just use like a dirty bed out in the open, which makes sense, I quite like that. So I did catch a disease from doing that, but yeah, it was kind of cool. I like that aspect of it. As I said, I like the survival mode kind of things. If you don't like that in a game, it might annoy you a lot. So bear that in mind. In the same way, if you didn't like the gunplay from Fallout 4, it's the kind of core aspect. You're probably not going to like it in Fallout 76. So do bear that in mind. Okay, what else I guess to talk about? So let's talk about the game world itself. So the map is huge. It is huge. You can go anywhere as far as I've seen. Although the game does guide you around with quests and things like that. I'll talk more about the quests and stuff like that in a bit. The game world has nice landmarks on your map. The map isn't like Fog of War or anything. It's completely revealed to you, so you can see everything on there on the map, and it is. But it doesn't have like every single thing on there. Obviously, it's not like got every single point of interest or anything. It's got like the big ones on there and stuff like that, and shows you where you need to go and stuff like that. The game world does seem quite detailed and nice. It seems to reward you for exploring, which is something I love in games. Red Dead does that really well. Every kind of thing you see in Red Dead has a little story behind it. If you go to just a group of houses, you might find a little story there. It might not even be told to you. You can just get it from what's going on. In here they have a lot of like audio logs NPCs, I actually think it's quite a brave move and an interesting move, because when you look at something like Fallout 4, or say something like Red Dead or Odyssey, these traditional kind of like RPG games, a lot of the time are spent in a scene where you're talking to someone. Maybe you're making dialogue choices, etc. What Fallout 76 does with the audio tapes is it allows you to keep moving, allows you to keep looking around. The game never stops. One of the things you have to get used to is in Fallout games you're used to the world stopping when you hit your Pip-Boy. It doesn't stop, obviously, because there's other people playing in Fallout 76. So you're constantly moving, so it would probably be quite jarring if you were kind of like stuck just talking to an NPCs all the time, you know. And we've seen that done so many times in MMOs out there. You know, run up to this guy, talk to him, get a quest, go do that. So I actually applaud them for doing something different. I'm not saying it works 100%. I'm not saying it doesn't feel a little weird and it has to be gotten used to. But I am saying, like, I think it's an interesting way of doing things. It's something a little bit different. And I kind of think that deserves to be, it deserves to say that's actually a brave decision to take and do. They do explain why there aren't any, like, people running around apart from, you know, other players in the game, and it's an interesting enough storyline. I won't spoil it in case you haven't played the game or intend to. But yeah, as I said, I quite like the fact that they do that in there. So as I said, it allows you to pop in an audio log and then keep moving, keep exploring, keep looting, keep killing while you're doing it, which I do appreciate, rather than maybe having to stand there for a couple of minutes while someone just talks to you. Which I've played a lot of Elder Scrolls Online, and like, it can be a little bit boring, not gonna lie. It can be a little bit boring when you're not necessarily making the decisions yourself. Even in Odyssey, like, I think they try and keep it to a minimum. Red Dead does it really well because it's just a very interesting game with very interesting dialogue, but it's a story single player game in Red Dead. In Fallout 76, it's a world, and you're not going to be able to get dialogue decisions because you can't have, you know, branching paths, really, can you, in an MMO, because everyone's kind of got to play the same thing. So I kind of understand the way they've done things. You know, you do have robots around, and you still get a lot of personality out of them. You have different ones you can talk to and stuff like that. So it's not like it's just an audio log all the time. But yeah, I kind of applaud them for that bravery in a way. And I'm not talking about bravery in an Apple remove the headphone jack bravery. I'm talking about genuinely kind of like, I would imagine it was intentional in a kind of way of like, they're intentionally thought about, you know, the way the world's going to react to having NPCs. And, you know, the game, you know, a lot of MMOs are about immersion, aren't they? And there are some good things that this game does. It really does immerse you in it. As I said, the food, the drink, the game world itself, the fact that there aren't any NPCs helps with the immersion. You know, the storyline and kind of behind that, and you know, everything that's kind of going on there. There's a few things which don't really help with immersion as well. We'll go into those, but overall, I don't think it does too bad a job on there. The game world does seem to, or the map itself does seem to have like different biomes as well. The one you start off in is a very kind of autumny one. I've been to like some big like towns / cities, I guess you would call them, and also been to like some more kind of like very much kind of wastelandy type areas and stuff like that. So there's quite a variety in the areas you go to, and what there is to see, and there's some interesting kind of like landmarks and stuff like that. As I said, it does reward exploration with either interesting little stories or loot or just interesting areas to look at, you know. So I like that about the game. On there, as for I mean, what should we talk about next? I guess I don't know. Okay, let's talk about the quest. So this is where I think it does kind of does kind of fall down a little bit, but it's kind of the bane of all MMOs out there. Like, name me an MMO where there isn't fetch quests, or name me an MMO where there isn't a go and kill X number of things. You know, I think they've done a fairly good job of keeping things interesting with the main kind of quest so far, while making you move around the map. So the main quest, your overseer's left before you, you're trying to track her down, I guess, and you get little audio logs along the way and stuff like that. And you know, it kind of works because it's interesting and you're learning about stuff, but also it moves you around the map. It does have a lot of quests which are like, go here, kill this number of things, and it has like public events which might involve that and all that kind of stuff. So, but as I said, I don't feel like there are, like, every MMO has things like that. You know, Destiny's got plenty of them. You know, World of Warcraft, Elder Scrolls Online, they all have that stuff. You know, I wasn't expecting a narrative experience with Fallout 76, and I think that's perhaps where people will either be annoyed and their expectations won't be met, because Fallout games have long been about the narrative, you know, the story. Don't get me wrong, it doesn't stop people from moaning like heck about the main story in Fallout 4 or the main story in Fallout 3 or whatever, or the one in New Vegas is so good, etc. But I feel like this game, its strongest point is not its quests. There are some really interesting ones out there and some fun ones to do and stuff like that, but you know, coming from playing Red Dead Redemption, which I know is a very unfair comparison, but also a little bit with Odyssey. Odyssey is a bit different, but from a story point of view, the quests are interesting enough to kind of go along and get your XP and stuff like that, but I wouldn't say that they're the be all and end all. It's more about the experience of being in the game world, you know, the things you discover and stuff like that, for me personally, and the gameplay itself. That makes the game shine, not necessarily the quests or things like that. Often you can find like little quests everywhere and little things which you might not have done, and that's cool. Like, it is really cool. I like that fact, and you know, it shows you where to go in the game. And as I said, the main quest does a good job of moving you around the map to explore different areas. I just think sometimes it can be the questing can be a little bit monotonous on that side of things. And then there's the base building as well. So to call it base building is a little bit strong. It's camping, and I think that was something which they did make clear to people, is like, look, this is not going to be like a Conan style, like build a huge castle type thing. This is going to be like, you're going to build yourself a little camp, and you will save the blueprint, and then you can rebuild it as you move around the map and stuff like that. Like, everything in a game, for me, how it feels is it's put there. It's deliberately designed to make you explore the map. Okay, it's there for exploration, and personally, I love exploration in video games. I love it. I love, you know, going to new places, exploring, you know, looking around things, seeing the stories that area just tells, as well as discovering things as well. So it works for me, but I can understand for some people, like, it's going to be limiting, because it is quite limiting. Firstly, you obviously go around and pick up junk as you do in Fallout 4. Yeah, which you break down and you get things, but your limit for your carry weight is not that high, and your stash is not that high either. So, you know, you will find yourself probably hitting those limits after, you know, 4 or 5 hours in the game. When you do hit your weight limit on you personally, it does do something a bit different. So it doesn't just make you walk really slowly. The kind of like jogging, which is your normal kind of movement speed, that uses AP points, and so you use that to walk, so you can still kind of move around. It's just that it will drain your AP points and your action points, that is, you know, like your VATS points, and as a result, once that goes down to 0, then you'll start moving very slowly, but then your AP points will regenerate a bit, so you can kind of keep moving around even though you're over encumbered. So that's not bad. You know, I think that does help a lot without it being, you know, oh, it doesn't matter if I don't have a weight limit. weight limits. People probably get annoyed at them, but I think it's about immersion, isn't it? If you just have never-ending pockets and you can walk around with, I don't know, 50,000 bits of steel in you. I guess it's not that immersive. I know it's still not that immersive, but how it goes. Everything does have weight as well, so even ammo does have weights, like it does in survival mode in Fallout 4, but it doesn't in the normal game. So you have to bear that in mind. You have to think about what you're carrying, because you will get to your weight limit pretty quick. And I know people get annoyed with that, like they don't want to put perks or get perks into weight limit and stuff like that. But that's the way video games are, isn't it? That's the way they are, and I think it can get a little bit annoying if you, in a game where it's just designed for you to pick up junk, that you then have a limit on how much junk you can pick up. But it also does make you think about something like you can build your little camp just outside of a town. You can do a couple of runs in there to get like a load of junk and then come out again. I think it does make you think about things a little bit differently, so I like it personally. I go to a new town, I'm like, okay, well, let's have a look around. You do have a personal stash and stuff like that, but you could also build your camp just outside town from your blueprint, and then go into town, do a loot run, go back. It works. Some people might like that, some people might not. I understand. I can understand. In terms of the building, there's quite a lot of things to build. You can build yourself a nice little camp, stuff which helps you, all your crafting stuff, things like that. There are definitely new things added in for Fallout 4. It's difficult to say because I think probably a lot of the really cool stuff is going to be quite late game. But you can get turrets and stuff like that, which can help protect you and things like that as you're even at a low level. So there's some cool stuff you can do, as I said, and I think it is meant. The way they seem to be directing it and the way it's designed, it does feel like it's not I'm going to build a base here, this is going to be my base. It is okay, this is my blueprint for my camp, pick it up, go somewhere else, put the blueprint down. It only costs you a few caps to do that, so I think it's designed more to do it that way. Again, people might like that. Some people who are thinking they want to have a map and they want to build a huge sprawling base might be quite disappointed. But I actually kind of quite like that system, it doesn't mean you're endlessly farming resources all the time necessarily, just to build walls and, things like that, so I kind of like it, as I said. It's interesting to do that, and putting your camp down and doing stuff like that is interesting. One of the things which I should probably talk about is the situation with other players. Any game where you're in a world with other people, people get worried about. One of the big things people were worried about in this game was other people griefing them. They have a really good system, I think, in this game where someone shoots you, another player shoots you, it does a tiny little bit of damage. If you shoot them back, you engage the PvP once you hit level 5, that is, and then you do normal damage. So it's virtually impossible for another player to kill you. They just won't be able to. There's also a passive mode as well in there, so you can't accidentally shoot people and stuff like that, or they can't jump in front of an enemy while you're shooting it or something like that to try and activate PvP. And there's not that much of a penalty for actually dying in PvP, so that terms of things, people can't do that much. Plus, if you set up a little camp and it's got a couple of turrets, and someone decides to attack you, the turrets will maim them down, it will mow them down, and it doesn't count as you attacking them, so they can't do any damage to you, and your turrets will just destroy them. It will treat them like an enemy. So yeah, don't get me wrong, if someone really wanted to go out of their way to try and grief you, they could do some annoying things. Of course, they can do that in any game, but I do think Bethesda has thought about that, and there are things in the game which you can kind of do to stop that, and I think people have a lot less power, and I think it's the biggest thing is like if somebody wants to grief you, as I said, they can do, but it's a lot of effort. And I think a lot of the time for like people who like doing that and trolling, it's because it's kind of quite easy to do, and you know they don't really have like a, you know, they're kind of like, oh, I'll troll this guy now, I'll move on, and I'll troll this guy a little bit and get all their chuckles out of it. But if they've got to have a really like succinct plan into doing it, I think for a lot of them they just won't bother, because they'll just be like, well, I'll either, I guess, play this game, or I'll go on and just play a different game if I really want to do that. Like, that sort of mentality of those sort of people is, they're not high intelligent people, is what I'm saying. So, you know, but again, if somebody really, really, really wanted to go and do it, of course it's possible, of course, to annoy somebody, but you can just move, like, you can just log off, log back in, you know, do something like that if you really wanted to. I know it's a bit annoying and whatever, but you're not going to lose any progress on your character, your camp's still going to be there, etc, etc. I didn't have any signs of hacking either when I was playing, and for the most part I found every single other person like, nobody even tried to engage me in PvP. Most people came up to me, just tried to add me to their team, you know. Everybody seemed pretty friendly. You would expect that because people pre-ordered it and stuff like that. But I think one of the things to remember in this game is that, like, this is a full price game, it costs 50 quid. Like, why, you know, I know it's not necessarily mentality, but I think a lot of the time on things, people are a jerk in games because it's easy, it's like free, they don't lose anything or whatever. But if you're kind of a jerk in Fallout 76, there are penalties to it. I think a lot of people just be like, this is not really the game to kind of do that in, and just kind of move on or do it in something else, you know. So I feel better about that, a lot better. You know, one of the things people were always say they were worried about was that. Again, I don't know how the hacking situation is going to go. You know, there's people. I think it's really sad, not just from a hacking point of view, but from like people's point of view of like, I just want to rush and get to like level 50. It's like, just enjoy things. You know, there's this kind of like, you know, one of the problems with the Bethesda games is they're tied. Their physics are tied to their frame rate, so people have found that if you can get 200 frames per second and look down, you run at like a super fast speed, and stuff, the game runs faster, basically. I think it's like, why do you want to play the game like that? Just to get to a level faster? Like, it's a bit, I don't know, just enjoy the experience, play the world. I don't get why people want to do things like that, you know, but whatever. I hope they enjoy playing the game, basically. But yeah, so that sort of thing I think has been pretty positive. As I said, I've had people kind of run and help me out in fights, and I've, you know, helped out other people and stuff like that, and so it's felt good. The game world is so big that I think if you like, I've played it mostly solo, and every now and then I'll run into a few people, but it's quite rare, to be completely honest with you. It's not that common to run into people. I guess it is a little bit to begin with, because the main quest takes you to certain places, so you will see the same people there. But I think once you get into the game, and most people have done, you know, a lot of the bits of the main quest, I think people just be wandering around doing their own stuff, exploring and finding things. Yeah. Now that kind of, I guess, leads me on a little bit to speculative stuff, I guess, because one of the things for a game like this to survive is content updates. Okay, I mean, the map is big and there's a lot to explore, but people will do that within a month or so of the game coming out. And with a game like this, you know, what someone like Bethesda wants is they want people to keep playing the game, because then people will be buying microtransactions, they'll be paying for possibly extra content and stuff like that. So the thing which you know, I'm wondering about is how long are Bethesda going to support this game for, and what are their ideas for supporting it? You know, what is the end game, I guess you could call it. In a way, I don't necessarily like saying that, but like, what's the end game like? Once you hit level 50, is there still going to be a lot of stuff to do? And I guess we won't really know. I would say that I'm someone who's played full Elder Scrolls Online since pretty much it came out. I played the beta for that. Didn't care for it too much, so didn't play the game till a little bit after, but I've played it for many years now. And they're excellent at updating that. Now, I also know that ZeniMax and Bethesda are not necessarily the same company. There's not the same teams developing it. ZeniMax just own Bethesda, but clearly there is a working relationship there, and clearly they've learned a lot from doing Elder Scrolls Online from a business point of view and how to keep people interested, and I think that's positive. That kind of track record. Elder Scrolls Online was pretty patchy to begin with. It took a good few updates for them to kind of get things sorted. They changed a few bits around. They got this kind of like champion point thing once you hit your end level. Things they did before wasn't perfect, but they kind of owned up to that, and I guess improved it. Listened to feedback from a lot of players, and as a result, they've got now a very good game. I think personally, if you go to Elder Scrolls Online, a game with much more refined systems, much more interesting things to do, and overall just a really fun game. I think I think Elder Scrolls Online got by for a long time just because it was an Elder Scrolls game, and I hope they don't kind of make the same mistake with Fallout 76, where they're like, well, look, people are going to play it because it's a Fallout game, so perhaps we don't have to think as much in the first year about adding content. Then we can think about it. I hope they're adding bits in each month, even if it's just a new mission or something in there each month to just keep things ticking over in a game, because people will be hitting that max level. You guarantee people will be hitting that max level at least at like latest end of the first week of that game going, because that's just what people do. And so if they haven't got end game content, look at Destiny. People bemoan constantly the fact that doesn't have any end game content. So yeah, I think it's or did bemoan. I guess it got better, but it took them a lot of updates, and people had to pay for a lot of updates and stuff like that. So yeah, I think it's something we could only speculate about now. We don't know. We can turn around and say, wow, the track record with Elder Scrolls Online is pretty good. They've done some good updates there, but they've had a lot to work with. But we don't know what is going to be coming in Fallout 76. But the game will, in a year's time, if it wants to survive, the game almost has to be unrecognisable in a way. Like, this just has to be the building blocks what you're getting now, because these games live and die on content, and if it dries up, it dies. People will just go play something else. This isn't like Odyssey or Red Dead, where it's a big long game, but people are like, okay, well, that's cool, I've played the game and I'm done. Great story, interesting side quests, I've played that game, I'll move on. When's the next one coming? This is like, they want Fallout 76 to last for years, in the same way Elder Scrolls Online has. Then they're going to have to think about what content they're adding, and if they want to keep a healthy player base, sure, people would have spent 50 quid on the game, but if they're just being like, well, I've done everything, I've got nothing left to do, they'll move on. And then if that next game as a service is providing them with the content they're craving, they'll play that. That's the way it works. One of the things which I kind of feel like probably the possible exception for that is probably WoW, because I think it has such a loyal fan base that people are kind of like content to go back to it every couple of years once they release an update or a new expansion pack, and then play that for a few months or whatever, and then move on and go back, because people are very attached because they've been playing for so long. So I think that is a possible exception to the rule, but I think most modern games, like, they really need that constant content to keep it going. A good example of that, I think, in a way, is something like Sea of Thieves, which I see is quite a similar game to Fallout 76 in a way. that it's not a traditional type of MMO at all. But that died because they couldn't get the content out. Like they launched it and it didn't have enough content in the game to keep people satisfied. Didn't have enough going on in the game. But they could have saved that by, releasing on a regular schedule. They have released a couple of updates, but it just felt like it's too late for the game. And if it's too late for the game, in terms of, if you're, Rare aren't that big a company that they can survive to just keep ploughing until they get to a good, a lot of content and a good game that people might start coming back. Bethesda kind of can afford for this to flop. They know they've still got, Skyrim 2 coming out. They know if they release a single player Fallout, people will buy it. Like, they've still got enough goodwill in these series for to have this flop without it being too much, and because it is something different. But on the other hand, I think they also recognise that there's a lot of money to be made here. In terms of the money and the microtransactions, as far as I can see, it's only cosmetics so far. We don't know. They've said that it's only going to be that. You just don't know. That 1 year down the line it could be completely different. But at least they're not doing stuff like Odyssey with booster packs or stuff like that. So yeah, we don't know yet. You do earn these like little atomic points in game, which you can spend to buy like cosmetic items as well. So you can kind of earn the currency in game a bit as well, but it is a bit slow. So obviously, if there is that real cosmetic item you really want, you're probably gonna have to fork out some cash for it, I'm afraid. But yeah, otherwise there's no like boosters or anything like that I can see in the game, so I guess that's good. Again, as someone who's playing a bit more solo-y, I don't see that as a huge issue. If someone wants to be level 50 running around the map because they've spent 100 quid on boosters or whatever, fair play to them if they're enjoying the game. It doesn't have to affect me in any way. So I'm not PvPing, so for me it doesn't break too much. Obviously, if they're nuking my base and stuff like that, it might be a bit annoying. But also, like, it's still costing them a lot of money to do that, and a waste of a nuke, because there are reasons for them. So yeah, I think overall I'm pretty positive about the game. I've enjoyed it. As I said, there are some downsides to it. As I said, the questing isn't the greatest. The graphics are not the greatest. The gunplay is pretty fun. I like the level system and all that kind of stuff. And it's still got the feel of a Fallout world. There's still some like funny bits and stuff like that in there, funny characters in terms of robots and stuff. It feels weird at the minute because, as I said, I have over 300 hours in Fallout 4, and yeah, it just feels a bit weird. One of the things I will say, which they did, which I like, which was a massive gripe of mine in Fallout 4, was now what can happen is you wear your vault suit and then you put armour over the top of it like you always did, but then you can also put an outfit over the top of that. So for example, I had like a vault suit on with my armour on it, like my leather armour pieces and stuff like that, but then I had like a survival like coat on over the top of it, and so it didn't show the armour or anything like that, so you do kind of get that cleaner look, and you don't have that annoying thing where you're like, hey, I really like this outfit, oh, I can't put any armour on because I can only wear this outfit, so it's actually totally useless. It avoids that situation that you had in Fallout 4, which again I really like. That was a definite need, because MMOs are so much about like how your character looks, for other people to see, isn't it? It's so much about showing off and seeing like, oh wow, that guy looks cool, I want to get that stuff, or it's things like that. So yeah, that's an important thing to do. The crafting things is quite interesting as well. There's loads of like new items to craft and new food to craft and stuff like that. It will give you different buffs and stuff like that. So it's cool. And I'm looking forward to playing it. Like I came home today and the beta's not on, and I was like, you know what? If I could jump into Fallout 76, I would jump in for a couple of hours and play that. And that's as somebody who's still loving playing Red Dead Redemption 2. because I'm like it just feels like a fun game to jump in and explore and do stuff like that. So I'd say if you're an explorer like me out there, you like the Fallout universe, you liked the gameplay of Fallout 4, you'll enjoy this game, I think. If you were like, I like the story of Fallout 4, but man, the gameplay I just didn't like, or stuff like that, you might be better off avoiding this game for now. As I said at the beginning, you can pick up a beta key for cheap, and you might want to try it first before you buy it, just see how you like it. But yeah, that's the thing. I also say that some of the graphical options are not up to scratch. Like there's no field of view slider on PC, which I know is a big problem for a lot of people. You can't even change it in like the INI file or anything like that. It's not a problem for me, but I know that for a lot of people that's a make or break deal. So I really hope that they will fix that by the time the game launches. But I don't know, because while we have this beta now, it's only a couple of weeks till the game launches, and so I'm like, I think this is literally just to test out the servers, not a beta to get feedback on what they want to change. I'm sure they will change things over time. As I said, they changed a lot in the Elder Scrolls Online. Anybody who played the beta for that and goes and plays the game now will find a completely different game, a way better one nowadays than they did in the beta, or even the first year or two of ESO. So it gives me faith that they will improve things in Fallout 76, but it's not to a point whereby like I can't play the game and have a good time in it. It's not to the detriment of it. I don't think at the minute anyway. I've noticed that. As I said, I'm only kind of like 6 hours in, like level 9. Could be completely different at like higher levels, to be completely honest with you, but it depends what your expectation levels are of a game. If I pay £50 for a game, I want to have a good time with that game. I don't necessarily want to still necessarily be like, I wouldn't be disappointed if I wasn't playing Fallout 76 in a year if I've had a good few hours in it and enjoyed it. But I would be disappointed if I got to level 50 and things just kind of grind to a halt. Then probably be a little bit disappointed at that, because the cool like when you get to a high level, you usually get all the cool weapons, the cool armor and stuff. You want to be able to enjoy that. So if you don't have end content in the game, then you're like, well, all I've been able to do is play through the game with my scrub level armor and weapons, and I've got nothing to test out my good stuff on. So I hope they do have like good end game content. I don't feel like Bethesda are a bad company in terms of the way they do that. Some of the things I don't necessarily agree with all the stuff they do, especially around mods and stuff like that, and their games can be buggy as hell, but I believe that like their games do have a soul generally, and that's good. So I think Fallout 76 has got a lot of heart. I think it's got a good soul, and I hope if they keep building on it, keep progressing with it, that they'll end up with a really good game, and something that could well be a nice turning point in the MMO world, because we've had so many MMOs out there which are just the same thing, like, it's set in this like fantasy world, and there's like magic, and there's this and there's that, and this feels like the first real different one. I know it's Fallout, so they had all that lore and stuff like that, but it's a brave thing to do, to take a series which is so beloved by so many people and go, we're going to do something completely different with it. It's a brave thing to do. They could have just made another Fallout and released that in a couple of years. Could have done Fallout 5. I'm sure it'd be great and everyone would love it. But I've kind of said this before, like creative people do need to do different things every now and then. They need to, because if you're doing the same thing, even if it is a different game, a different area, a different look, if you're just making the same single player games all the time, you're going to start to get a little bit, it's going to stifle creativity a little bit. You put limitations on. I feel like they've kind of taken away a lot of the limitations in Fallout 76 for what they do, or maybe just change the rules a bit. So hopefully, we're going to see a good game in the future. I think I've pretty much spoken about everything which I wanted to. The perk system. That's the one thing I didn't talk about. Sorry. So, in the perk system, when you level up, you get to put a point in your special characteristics. So, strength, perception, endurance, charisma, intelligence, agility, luck. I remember that off the top of my head. That's good, isn't it? I've played too much Fallout. Obviously, just putting things in those gives you a boost to certain things, but then you also get a card, a perk card you can choose, which you can then put in. It might be like your melee weapons do 10% extra damage, or it might be like, you take less radiation from heat in food, or, kind of like the perks in Fallout 4, they're just in a card form. And then depending on what level you are in your special, so if I'd put like, if after 3 levels I've put a perk point in strength twice or something like that, then I could have 2 perk points in strength, 2 perk cards in strength. So you can kind of like have different builds in that way, and you can swap out cards anytime you like. So you can have different builds, and I really like that. I like the way they've done that. And you get, like, every now and then you get perk card packs which you open and get extra perk cards. And I'm sure there's going to be like some really strong ones and stuff like that as well. So I like that because it allows you to have different builds. If you're like, okay, I fancy playing melee, so I'm going to put these cards in now into my perks, and that's going to give me a big boost on my melee. You can be like, oh, I fancy playing as a sniper. I'm going to do that. It's not like, okay, choose your class at the beginning. Right, this is the optimal way to build this class. Off you go. Which a lot of MMOs do. It's like, oh, what class are you going to be? I'm going to be a sorcerer. Okay, that's the way you're going to play the game for the 100 hours you're going to put in the game. But in this, you can be like, oh, I can switch out your different perks and choose to play the game in a different way. If I get a really nice sniper rifle, I could be like, oh, I'll choose the perk cards. I'll switch them out for the ones that help with that because I want to use this weapon. Or if you get a really sweet like axe or something like that, you can be like, ooh, I want to like boost my melee because I want to be able to use this axe. So I think they did a really good job of doing that. Again, I haven't seen what it's like at a late level, but I like what they're doing with it so far. So that gets a thumbs up from me, a big old thumbs up. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know what you think about Fallout 76, the pluses, the minuses, whether or not you haven't tried it, if it's not going to be a thing, or if you're thinking of trying it, and let me know. And if you want to play sometime on PC as well, I'll put my Bethesda username in the description. Feel free to add me as a friend. I'll be quite happy to team up with any of my subscribers out there. So thank you so much for watching. I'll see you soon. Bye bye.